Hey everyone, my name is Will. Um, I am a graduate of the OSINT Academy. Um, I recently had the opportunity to speak at Osmosis and just wanted to, I got to speak on the OSINT Academy, and that was my first time speaking in front of a crowd so big, so I don't really feel like I was able to do it really justice. So I just wanted to take a moment and make this quick little video in case you are considering it. It's a phenomenal opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime experience, and just wanted to kind of show you guys what it's all about and how you can become a part of it if you're interested. Um, OSINTacademy.com. If you go here and it's not been updated yet to the next semester, it will show that the fourth session when it begins, and it's actually already ended. So, but I would encourage you to go ahead and register now. If you do complete this registration, I want to note that you do have to have a high school diploma or GED, and the the type of people they're looking for are veterans, people that are still in the military on the way out, first responders. But that doesn't mean it's limited to that. If you apply, put in a good case, they could probably take about anybody they want. So, and this comes through funding through Cyber Skills 2 work, which is through the NSA. This particular training is run by Dakota State University and the Hetherington Group. And the Hetherington Group, their star, Cynthia Hetherington. I'll show you guys a quick little slide that I had put together for the Osmosis Con 2022. And just so this is just a little bit about me. I'm currently a Tampa police officer, and I'm assigned to the Cyber Crimes Unit. I'm a member of the Central Florida Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Essentially, we track down predators online and find child pornography online, and then put said people who either possess, distribute, produce in jail for a long time, as long as we possibly can, because these are the types of people that target children, take away innocence. The stuff that I do in my current role, I use a lot of OSINT, and a lot of law enforcement officers who work in any cyber related capacity do, whether they realize that or not. They might not know the term, but my skill set went from amateur script kiddie to, and there are so many people that are considered experts. I would consider myself a practitioner now, an OSINT practitioner, and I'm confident in my abilities in OSINT, directly attributed to the OSINT Academy and the things that I learned there. Along the way, I have picked up a couple cybersecurity related certifications. I'm certified cybersecurity analyst. I've got a Oracle cloud infrastructure, the new CC, FBI's cyber investigator certification program. There's a few more, but we'll kind of leave it at that. Um, and just going on about me, and that's not why we're here. But 2004, I graduated high school. I enrolled in college in 2004. I dropped out of college in 2004. That's about all of that year. 2005, I became a lifeguard. Did that for a little while. I got tired of that burn all the time on my skin, so I ended up deciding I needed something different. Couldn't really handle sitting in an office, so I joined the police academy in 2007. 2008, I got hired with Dade City Police Department. It's a small department, probably 5 square miles. I think it's expanded since, but they were about 25 sworn officers there altogether. That includes the chief of police, the captain, the administrative sergeant, and their structure has changed since. But at the time, that was the administrative chain of command. And then all the reserve officers in patrol, we had at any given time 2 police officers and a sergeant. That made up an entire squad. So it was a very small agency. I did pretty much everything that I possibly could there. There was really not a lot of room for advancement, not a lot of room for lateral transfer, but they did have a lot of opportunities for training. They really encouraged it. 2009, I went to this class uh, called Social Media for Law Enforcement, and I was kind of voluntold to go, which those of us in the profession know that means that they are given a couple seats and they say you need to fill these seats, and you are pretty much typically selected because you're the lowest man on the totem pole. So I got to go to this class, which I wanted nothing to do with, but um, it really changed my life for the better. I met the professor or lector or instructor, whatever you would call her, Kirby Plessis. Phenomenal. I can't say enough about her. She knows her stuff. She's a great trainer, and she's got the Plessis Expert Network, I believe it's called. She runs her own. You could Google her. I'm sure you. I mean, if you just type in Kirby Plessis, it's going to pop up. And I learned how to leverage the internet that day. I learned that Google was more than just trying to find out what time Domino's was open till. I learned that you could utilize MySpace for, I know MySpace just kind of gives you a little bit of a time frame here. You could use MySpace and the search engine on MySpace for more than just looking for friends. Uh, I had a case, and it was actually 64 of them total. There was somebody going downtown, and they were taking a magic marker and just, well, there's really nothing magical about it. It was a permanent marker, and they graffitied, they marked, they tagged 64 different buildings, and it was getting to the point where I would come into work and I would just have like 7 or 8 buildings in a row. So that was 7 or 8 reports in a row. And if you're in law enforcement or worked around law enforcement, you know the last thing we want to be doing all day long is taking stupid reports. So I made it a personal mission to figure out who was doing this. I simply put what they had wrote on the wall into MySpace, and it was the first thing that popped up. It was this kid. His name was Chris. He was 16 then, so he's probably old enough now for me to tell you his name, but I don't remember it. I just remember it was Chris. And I got with the SRO. I showed him a picture, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's such and such." And went over to his house, arrested him, and it turned up in the newspaper. It was like techie computer cop uses internet to solve crime. It was on the front page of the Dade City Tribune or whatever the heck local paper they had. I think all 30 people that got that paper thought I was famous, but it opened my eyes to what we can do with the internet when we know how to use it. And that all stems from Kirby Pluses there. My career started getting a little stale where I was at. So in 2012, I decided I needed to, it was time to either go big or go home. I applied for the Tampa Police Department. So I think I applied in the beginning of 2012. On October 8th, 2012, I left the Dade City Police Department, and as you can see, the next day I joined TPD. Um, Again, going back to this program, the OSINT Academy here, this is a direct what screenshot of what the page looked like. And you'll see some of the tools like the Wayback Machine. I actually got this from prior to me applying, what you see on the left-hand side of your screen. It's just a screenshot of what the page looked like when I first saw it. And I found it by just Googling free OSINT training. I put in for the app, I applied for it, and it took a while for me to hear anything. And this whole time I'm like contemplating if I reach out or not. And I decided that I'm just going to wait it out. It said, what was going on. It said, be patient. After you fill out your application, it may take several weeks. And I finally get this email. And of course, I told my mom about it. I'm married. I told my husband about it. But my mom was one who was really excited. So when I found out that I got in, I got this email, and this is the actual email that I got. you can read it if you want, but I read to the part where it says, "Congratulations, OSINTer. You have been selected to participate in Cyber Skills to Work OSINT Academy pilot program." And that's where I stopped. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. I figured I'd get back to it and read it whenever I could. And I think it was on a weekend when I got this. I called my mom up. I'm telling her about it. And she's like, well, forward me the email. That sounds awesome. I want to see it. She reads it. She calls me back. And I'm like, yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty excited about this. Right around that time, she asked me if I did everything I needed to do, as far as following up. I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, did you read the email? I said, yeah. I mean, well, I technically read the email. Pull out my phone and I'm looking at it and I'm reading the important next steps to secure your seed part. It's really standing out now. And I see that this email was sent to 25 people. And the first 20 who get their stuff in are going to be the ones who fill the spots. And I had already known that this program was in high demand. And as it turns out, there was over 800 applicants. So freak out mode sets in. I hang up on my mom and she's trying to call me back. I'm like, can't talk, gotta go. Grabbing all the stuff that I need to get together, redacting photos from passports, as another email told you you're supposed to do. And I get all my stuff out. And I finally find out I get accepted into the program. Super, super excited. It starts off by going through there are some required reading materials and going through this book. This book is one of those required reading materials. This author, Michael Bazell, is probably one of the most world-renowned OSINT privacy everything practitioners. He knows his stuff. If it's anything related to open source, he knows how to do it, or he can figure out how to do it. And he goes a step further. He does the privacy aspect of things, removing your information from the internet, keeping your information hidden from the internet. And he does this stuff for a living. So he has got it down to a science. Another one of his books is Extreme Privacy. I would highly recommend that book. I've read a page cover to cover several times, and I try to live by it. It's very hard. You've got to be a very dedicated person to do that kind of stuff. But this book here is I mean, it's part, if not the core, of the OSINT Academy. And if you were to start this book at page 1 and read it to the last page, I don't I don't think I would. I mean, it's definitely interesting material, but it might be a little bit difficult to read from page to page. And I think he even says that in his book. But Cynthia, either in collaboration with Mr. Bazell, or maybe she just was able to look at the book and figure out the perfect way to go about it. She gave us every week we would have a chapter, 2 chapters, several chapters to read, and it would jump around. We started with the introduction and then went to chapter 8, and that's a completely random number I'm just picking right now. I don't remember what it was, but the way she had it set up, it really guided us in the right direction to get the book down and to get things taken care of and everything we needed out of that book and to make the most of it. Whether it was through his virtual machine that he literally has made this Ubuntu based virtual machine, and he gives you everything you need to build it. I mean, you could literally just, well, you can't copy and paste, unfortunately, because none of his books are digital, but you can transcribe and then paste, and you'll get what you need. Um, whether you go to the OSINT Academy or not, this book I would highly recommend if you're in any kind of analytical, if you're an analyst, if you're in law enforcement, if you're doing any kind of research, even if you're not necessarily, maybe if you just do this stuff for fun. Bazell and his books are awesome. So once we got things going here. We get in, we get our first week's assignment. We got the book. Cynthia was, and her books are, oh my gosh, they're expensive, but they are, excuse me, they are worth the money. Fortunately, going through the academy, we got our copies for free. Um, and I mean, you're going to get your money's worth if you decide you do want to purchase one of her books. And she has authored several books, and they are. I mean, I don't know how she's not a prize winning author. Maybe she is a prize. Well, she has won lots of awards. I don't know if she's won any for her books, but if she hasn't, I think maybe someday she will. But we get in this group, and there's just the 20 of us, and it was kind of a forced thing. We we had to work together, and there was everybody from cops like me with some experience in this field to cops that had no experience. There was a firefighter, there was a librarian, there was a former FBI special agent turned private investigator. We even had a guy who he worked in the cybersecurity field, and he we think he might have been a serial killer, and you'll see why here in a minute. But um, this program was just all about giving you all the tools you needed to succeed. And I hadn't been to college in years, and as you saw, I mean, 2004, I started and stopped. I'd never done any online college, so the learning or the learner management system I'd never heard of, wasn't familiar with it, so it threw me for a loop. And when we're in that, you know, it was difficult for me to get in the groove in the beginning, but through the different students, the different learners who helped, and through Cynthia who helped, and we got her phone number the very first day, and it was a anytime you need anything, you call me. And if you know anything about Cynthia, you know she is probably the busiest person on earth, but she made time for us. If she didn't answer the phone, we got a text message within about 30 seconds that said, "Hey, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you back in 15 minutes? Can I call you back in an hour? Is it okay if I call you back tomorrow?" Or, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to talk right now. Is this something we can try to troubleshoot through a text message or an email?" She would make it happen. And the fact that she did that on top of her regular running a multi-million-dollar company, um, teaching at Dakota State University, traveling the world, teaching Department of Defense, law enforcement, three-letter agencies all over the world. I don't know how she finds the time. The funniest thing I think about this experience was learning about Zoom, and apparently there's rules to Zoom and classroom Zoom meetings. So we go into this our very first Zoom meeting, and they weren't mandatory. They were just like, "Hey, if you want to, we're gonna just go over some stuff, and we got this email. This isn't mandatory, but if you want, we can meet. We can talk about different things, and just an opportunity for everybody to get to know each other." So I didn't know. I thought everybody would just leave their mute button off. I didn't know that when you're not talking, you're supposed to hit the mute button, and then you can either press the space bar while you're talking or unmute it. So Cynthia's unmuted, I'm unmuted, and the rest of the class is muted. She asks her, "Oh, okay, so it's time for introductions," and she's like, "All right, Will, you can go ahead first since you're not muted." So I go ahead and I just tell everybody a quick little something about myself, and then I'm like, "Okay." She's like, "Thanks, Will. Did you have anything else to say?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. Thank you very much. Just happy to be here." And I get a private message come up from her. She's like, "Just so you know, you're supposed to hit the mute button when you're not talking." So I went ahead and hit the mute button. Um, the serial killer guy. This is what he looked like. he was remodeling his basement. So if you're going to be doing something silly, it's you can always be in the meeting and have your camera off. You don't have to have it on. Um, when the academy started, we are given an assignment, and it is a real world assignment. We are given a subject, and we are given stuff to research about this subject. It starts off with as a business module, and that was the first module was the hardest one for me because I don't being in law enforcement, we have to have customer service skills, but not to the same extent as a private investigation firm would have. If somebody's not happy with my service because they're going to jail because they broke the law, I'm going to treat you with respect, but I really don't care that you're not happy because you broke the law. If a private investigation firm comes across a similar situation, they may have to still appease that person because that's how they're feeding their families. That's how they are supporting their business. So being in the public sector and the private sector are two different, completely different things. And I had never been exposed to the private sector. This is where I started to see that side of things and realize that, wow, so if I don't like somebody and they're like a bad person, I still have to like be nice to them. Wow, crazy. But yeah, I guess it was different to see that stuff. We had gotten our subject, our target, and pretty much I, of course, thinking that I'm an expert, start trying to find everything I possibly can on this person and a lot of the stuff because the person that we did research was a very, very high profile figure. And to give you the scenario here, imagine that you've got two companies merging, and this isn't the exact scenario. I'm not sure what she's going to throw at us in round two, but in case she does if you've been to the OSINT Academy before, here's round two, and if you haven't, we're going to go through round one first. I don't want to spoil that for you, but so let's say that there is two companies merging, and she's going to have us do all the research we possibly can on the CEO of this company, and you're looking for everything you possibly can. You're checking. She wants to know where they live. She wants to know if they're married, if they've got kids, where their kids go to school, if they've ever gotten a traffic ticket, how many companies they've owned, what year they graduated high school, who was their girlfriend in high school, have they ever been fired from a job, have they ever been arrested, everything. And I'm like, okay, I'll start knocking this out. And I realized that there were so many resources in Google dorking techniques that I didn't know that I hadn't used. So this is the stuff that through the book by Bazell, through Cynthia's books, and through all of her lectures and training, I was able to pick up. And now they did. This was for the actual Osmosis Con. I had some slides that I'd put in here that I guess they didn't get approved, so they took them out. That was just like some more detailed stuff about the class. Um, Again, this it really is a once in a lifetime opportunity. I felt that way, and the things that I got from this, I will they will be with me forever. I can't say enough about the Hetherington Group. Everybody that works there, their staff go out of their way to help you out and to make sure that this academy runs smoothly. Dakota State University, phenomenal, phenomenal people there as well. Their staff go out of their way to make sure things run smoothly. Um, the Cyber Skills to Work program, all of them, phenomenal staff. They go out of their way to make sure everything runs smoothly. The NSA, we didn't really get to chat with too much, but I'm sure they were monitoring everything we were doing. So thank you for that. If if there's anything you guys have, if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out, throw a comment in there. I'll get back to you. I'll let you know if I can. If not, I will direct you to the person who can, or you can always just go to osintacademy.com and fill out an application. and or reach out to the Hetherington group. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to help you out and guide you in the right direction. I would definitely recommend filling out the application sooner than later, though, because this is one of those classes that, like I said, there's 800 applicants to the last one, and I believe she was able to push 150 through the academy, and that was in 4 classes. And they initially only needed her to push 20 through in 3 years, and she was able to in 1 year get 150 through. So that just goes to show the amount of work that she is willing to put into this kind of thing for you, for us, because of how passionate she is about this. Thank you guys very much for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you got something from it. And again, it's osintacademy.com. Stay safe and be well.